160 years in times past. So the 1260 years ended in 1798. The 2300 years ended in 1844. We're living right here in the delay. We're waiting for the time to come for the 144,000 to be sealed. When they're ready to go, the Great Tribulation commences and the wrath of God breaks loose. And of course, the wrath of Satan then breaks loose as he conducts warfare against the saints. Now, I said I was going to read Revelation 12:7 to make the point that chronological order in Revelation 12 is broken. So, verse 7 says, "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back." Now, we will see later on that this war took place on Resurrection Sunday. This war in heaven, in verse 7, took place on Resurrection Sunday. The Bible clearly teaches this. And this is when the dragon, the Satan, Lucifer, is cast out of heaven once and for all, never again to return. And because verse 7 does not occur chronologically after 1798, which is where verse 6 ended, Rule 1 forces the beginning of a new prophecy. I hope you understand. Let me take you back to my little chart and illustrate that for you so that you can see how this works not only in this situation, but it works constantly through the books of Daniel and Revelation. So here is Revelation 12, 1 through 6. I'll just put verses 1 through 6. And we start with 4 BC. This is the birth of Christ. And we go down to the end of the French Revolution, where the power of the little horn is broken for the 1260 years, 1798. And then when we read verse 7, we find there's war in heaven. Well, the war in heaven doesn't occur after 1798. Actually, the war in heaven occurs in AD 30. So we have the beginning of a new prophecy. And so verse 7 starts here and proceeds on down through the Great Tribulation. But we're going to find in this prophecy of Revelation 12:7, when we get to verse 14, we're going to find the same time period of the 1260 years mentioned there as was mentioned earlier. So we have this repetition and enlargement, but more importantly, we have this chronological alignment. I hope this makes some sense to you. Revelation 12, 1 through 6 is a very short story summarizing Lucifer's hatred for Jesus. After Adam and Eve sinned, Lucifer learned that God had a plan to save man from the penalty of sin. 4,000 years later, Lucifer saw the wise men searching the Scriptures. He saw them leave home to find the Savior of mankind. Lucifer saw Jesus born in the stable. Lucifer was determined to ruin God's plan to save man from the penalty of sin by killing Jesus at birth. This tiny prophecy in Revelation 12 highlights the serious contest between God, who is endeavoring to save man, and Lucifer, who is determined to destroy God or God's plans. Remember this. Boy, this is a profound statement. I want you to write this down on the tablets of your heart. Revelation 12, 1 through 6, is a Lucifer versus God prophecy. This is where the dragon tries to destroy the male child that is born of the woman. And the next prophecy, Revelation 12:7 through 14:5, the longer one, is a Lucifer versus the church prophecy. So we have a Lucifer versus God and a Lucifer versus the church. These two prophecies work together to reveal an important truth about Lucifer that we need to understand. The story in Revelation 12:1 through 6 tells us of Lucifer's failure to kill Jesus at birth. The Bible says the male child was snatched up to God and His throne. What is more bitter than failure and humiliation? All of the demons must have been surprised to see Lucifer fail at killing a baby Jesus. Then, after torturing a sinless Jesus and killing Him on the cross, the devil failed again. A watching universe rejoiced as the Father raised Jesus from the dead. But that empty tomb became the devil's destiny. Lucifer and his demons experienced another bitter defeat at the tomb on that Sunday morning, and then in heaven as they were cast out that Sunday morning. The resurrection of Jesus and their loss of their seat and place in heaven sealed their fate. Lucifer and his demons are destined to suffer in the flames of hell. They will writhe in pain as Jesus and the saints watch. The demons know there is no chance of escaping hell. Zero. I have mentioned these things because I want you to understand something of Lucifer's anger and bitterness toward God. This is why I believe predatory violence is a telltale sign of demonic possession. Lucifer and his demons are so full of rage toward God that violent destruction is their most telling and powerful expression. It's all they've got left. Violent destruction. I've spent a lot of time talking about demonic possession today because every Christian needs to understand the enormous violent energy that will be released against the saints during the Great Tribulation. The devil and his demons are hell-bound. There's no chance of escape. And they are on a tear to destroy everything that belongs to God. Revelation 12:5 says the male child was snatched up to God and to His throne. This was a bitter defeat. It made Lucifer furious because it meant the loss of his position in heaven. After Jesus ascended to heaven, Lucifer attempted to destroy the woman, and she fled to the desert. The desert is a harsh place to live. The devil tried to starve the woman to death, but he failed again. God had prepared a place of survival for her. Ultimately, this short story contains a glorious promise that we need to understand. The time is coming when Jesus will rule all nations with a rod of iron. The phrase, a rod of iron, indicates a sovereign rule that cannot be broken. Well, we're out of time for this segment, but as John Paul Jones once said, I've just begun to fight. We'll see you in just a moment.